My name is Dan Casey, and you're listening to Danny C. Talking Sports. And I'm back with another episode, guys. First things first, Knicks tape, baby! Let's get it. When I went last night against Minnesota, that was a good win. But here's the thing. I have a lot of issues. First thing I want to talk about. This whole episode I want to talk about is the first 10 games of the Knicks season so far. My New York Knicks. And basically get into that, and I have some notes throughout some of these games that I want to pinpoint out, and I want to really talk about specifically against that win against the Philadelphia 76ers. Really get into that and how we won and all that in between. But we can talk about last night's win against the T-Wolves. So yeah, man. I mean, listen, we were absolutely killing it from three, attacking their defense, attacking their zone, which is something that we tend to struggle to do against all the time, is attacking a zone defense. And we kind of figured it out last night. And the thing is, we were just hitting our threes, especially Randall. I mean, he tied his career high in threes last night with 8 threes. So, I mean, that's great. And just everybody was hitting their shots. And I just, another thing is Minnesota just they weren't doing their thing on the defensive end at all whatsoever. They were not there. It seems like, again, with somebody like Anthony Edwards, it's hard to question somebody like that. But it seems as to he just doesn't have it right now. But he's definitely not there. And Towns at times shows a lack of effort, and all these other guys, plus Gobert wasn't playing, and he's their defensive anchor. I'll take it. A win is a win, and we have to play whoever's in front of us, and this is a team that's supposed to be a playoff team. It was a good win, and we absolutely dominated from the three-point last night. It was obviously it was a nice bounce back, coming from like 2 or 3 games ago against the Boston Celtics, where they had a team record in threes, and that they had like 26, I believe, right? Here's the thing, it's funny because we were at the time, or at least I think going into that game, we were third in 3-point defense, which is crazy to think about, because as I'm watching these games, and I've watched them pretty intensely, I feel like all the 3-pointers that they be giving up, the Knicks, are majority of the time open, and then these guys are just missing it. 2 years ago, we were first in defense from the we were first in team defense from the 3-point line, and again, I just feel like it's the same type of defense. We were giving up open threes, and they were just missing them, and we just took advantage of that. I mean, again, I'm happy, that we're one of the top defensive teams in 3-point. In 3-point defense. We need to be consistent on it, and we need to start closing out on guys more. And I feel like that's something that we struggle with often, is fighting over screens. That's for sure. And just switching in general is something that we never do. So if we have a guy like Jalen Brunson, right, who is guarding somebody like Trae Young. Don't even get me started on that Atlanta Hawks game. Oh my! I will definitely get into that for sure. But if we have a guy like Jalen Brunson who's guarding Trae Young, and I don't think he was guarding Trae Young that game. He was guarding DeAndre Hunter. There was maybe a couple times where he had to guard Trae Young, but it is what it is on that end. So he's guarding Trae Young, and somebody like Capella is setting a screen. And then you have, I guess, let's say Isaiah Hardenstein trying to, because he's guarding obviously Capella. We need to have Brunson going under the screen and trying to fight under it. So that way, if anything, contest the shot if he's pulling up for a mid-range or a three-pointer. And then Hardenstein, going back a bit and just either helping Brunson to switch over and try to guard Trae Young, or another help defender guard Capella, in case they're, obviously the role, which he would be the role man, helping guard Capella. Because what happens is Trae Young will get over the screen. He'll see that there's obviously a help defender, Hardenstein, or let's say Fournier. And obviously it creates some type of double team, which the Knicks like to do quite often. And then somebody has to obviously be open for three, and then Trae Young kicks it out to, like, let's say DeAndre Hunter, and then he gets the open three. And this happens all the time. And I'm just tired of seeing that defense. I really am. It's enough. It's enough. And we need to start being better about that. Just fighting over these screens. Stop with the double teams. Absolutely just stop with the double teams. Another problem I have with the Knicks is that, like, again, we have a guy like Evan Fournier who's supposed to be our top 3-point shooter. And he's literally not. He's not that for us. He's not a 3-point specialist. Yeah, he was our best 3-point shooter. And in apparently Knicks history last year, because he had like over 200 threes and he beat John Stark's record, which is, I mean, it's great. That's great for him. But he's not consistent enough on that end. And the problem is, as well, we can't even really play him because he's a god-awful defender. So it leaves us with guys like R.J. Barrett, then Randall, to be able to hit the three-pointer, which they definitely can, but they're not consistent enough as well on that end. So I blame that on front office management, where we don't have enough 3-point shooters on our team that are consistent on that end. If we had a guy like Buddy Hield, who averages like 4 threes a game and is actually a natural scorer who averages about like 18 a game, that would be like honestly a perfect fit for our team. But we tend to never get guys like that, and then we're stuck with guys like Evan Fournier who are severely overpaid, and I just can't wait till his contract's over. But I mean, again, I'm going back to last night's win. Everybody was hitting from three, including Randall, and we just need to see a little bit more consistency on that end. Another problem I have with is what happened last night. Again, Randall and everybody else they were moving the ball. Especially with Randall, he's not forcing the action. So if he's getting the ball, he'll create maybe a little isolation for himself, which is fine every now and then. But Brunson is supposed to be your main ball handler. And that's it. He's your starting point guard. And just in general, a point guard is supposed to be running the offense. And at times, I feel like that could be on Brunson, allowing somebody like Randall or RJ to be the guy to handle the ball handling responsibilities. But it's really also on Tibbs at the same time. You're supposed to prioritize your point guard being the vocal point of your offense, letting it run through him. So I got to blame Tibbs a little bit on that, and just creating better plays for our offense as well. But he's obviously a defensive-minded coach. But again, he is still the head coach at the same time, and you're supposed to be drawing up offensive plays, and we just need to be drawing better offensive plays for our team. Last night, our offense was great. We were up by like 20, it was like 25, 26 points last night at one point. The thing is, here's what happens in a lot of games. Our third quarters, we tend to struggle all the time. Last night, we were giving up the lead a little bit, but in the third, but we were maintaining it throughout. It's the fourth quarter where our bench tends to suffer. I don't know if it's just the fact that they're out there too long, and then they're going up against some starters here and there, but there needs to be a little bit more consistency in terms of just maintaining a lead, first off. If you're up by 20-plus points in the fourth quarter, and then again, that comes down to coaching and all that, bringing in the guys who are supposed to be the guys who are supposed to hold down the lead. And here's another thing. I feel like our bench is probably our best asset. We are the deepest bench in the league, as I've said before, and we need our bench to hold down the lead, and that way our starters could come in and hold it down as well. And then at times the starters tend to prove that they can't do that as well. So let me get into the 76ers game, because I have a lot of things to say about that game, because this goes into how we've been playing for the past two games in the fourth quarter. And I have to say, Tom Thibodeau, he might have saved his job. It was literally him saving his job right there. Playing Jalen Brunson, Cam Reddish, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Obi Toppin, which is the lineup that most Knicks fans have been waiting to see for the longest time now, or at least in terms of playing Randle and Obi together at the same time, which, again, I understand that it creates problems, especially on the defensive end, but it creates so many more offensive opportunities for our team and it makes us faster. You have to at least try it. And the thing is, Thibodeau has tried it before, and I get it. So we suffer from height disadvantage with Obi and Randall, both respective power forwards. And we have no real true center out there. But if somebody like I'll say Karl Anthony Towns, he's not gonna be able to guard Obi like that. And then again, Obi won't be able to guard Towns. But I feel like for the fourth quarter, it works. And I feel like that's the type of lineup we need to see all the time, at least coming in the fourth quarter. You don't have to start Randall and Obi together, but you at least should end the games with them together. And that's what happened last night with the T-Wolves, and we won that game. Literally, we won that game with that lineup, just like how we did against the Philadelphia 76ers. We found a lineup that worked. And Obi, literally, he's been like our best three-point shooter so far, which is actually crazy. Come 2 years ago, he was literally, he was airballing threes. But his form is nice. I'll give him that, and he's worked on it and on his game in general. And the thing is, he's becoming more confident, which I love. Obviously, he's a big spark plug for us off the bench. Every time he comes in, he gives us that life, that energy that we need, that we desperately need. The Knicks just, again, they have been all over the place. I can't really define what to make of this team 10 games into the regular season, but I feel like perhaps we are getting it together. I think Thibodeau has figured out a lineup that works for our team, and Brunson, Reddish, RJ, Randall, and Obi. And we need to see more of it going forward. Again, you don't have to start them, all five of them at the same time. I would say Reddish definitely deserves to start because, his defense and his ability to create on the offensive end is what we need. And Fournier, again, he's good for hitting threes every now and then, but he can't play defense to save his life. And we just can't have him out there. Off the bench, listen, off the bench is nice. He could be like our 6th, 7th, 8th man, scoring about 9 to 12 points a game, hitting his three-pointer. Even that, even the past 2 games off the bench, he's been doing nothing. So who knows? Maybe he'll get it going off the bench because he's going to need to learn that he's just not really an NBA starter anymore, at least not for our team. He just can't be a starter for our team anymore. Maybe a couple other teams like the Sacramento Kings, I guess. But even they got like Kevin Herter, who's their starting shooting guard. And he obviously deserves that spot. The bottom line is Evan Fournier, he's not an NBA starter anymore. I think that's just what it comes down to. The thing is with the Knicks, that we just need more consistency on the defensive end and better ball movement. And the most important thing, I feel like, with our team is turnovers. We turn over the ball like crazy, which is the reason why we let teams come back into the game. Like against the Atlanta Hawks. We were up by 20-something points. Trae Young had the worst quarter of his life in the first quarter against us. He went 2 for 12 in the first quarter. And DeJounte Murray, he had maybe 5-6 points at the time in the first quarter. And then our bench was doing good. Obi was doing great. And then we bring our starters back and we bring Randall. Now, here's the thing. Here's where you could have played Randall and Obi together, especially when Obi was playing good. And I understood why you brought back Randall. He had a good first quarter. And then you bring back Mitch, which, again, obviously he's a good defender and all. I'm not really blaming Mitch as to why the Hawks came back. It was our poor defense, that's for sure. DeJounte Murray just getting hot and our turnovers. And then you get a guy like DeJounte Murray going, and he scored 20 points in that second quarter. And that just can't be happening. And then they cut down the lead. And then it's a 10, 12-point game come halftime. In the third quarter, we start off terribly. And that's actually what I want to get into for sure, is our offensive droughts that we get into quite often. Definitely a couple times this season. One against the Hawks, the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, we didn't score. It was the first 4 minutes, actually, of the third quarter. We couldn't buy a basket. But that's just, it comes down to their defense locking in on us, and we don't know how to beat a zone because teams figure out, okay, this is how we got to play them. And then we're not hitting our threes and just honestly nothing. We're not breaking down their defense. And, our offense is just shit. And we need to start putting in better lineups or guys who could obviously hit the three, like a Obi or a Quickly. If somebody like Reddish or Barrett's not hitting their shots, maybe sub in a couple guys like those and just see what happens, because that would, again, give them motivation. All right, I need to start being better from that range and start hitting more shots. And then, again, it also comes down to what we do on the offensive end, obviously. So, and the kind of shots that we create for ourselves. We just need to start being better all around and just not let teams get back to the game just because we're missing shots. And again, every team misses shots, but we get into these droughts quite often. It was that game, and I believe it was the game against the Celtics where we didn't score for like 4 or 5 minutes, I think towards the end of the third quarter. And it's enough. I'm tired of seeing these offensive droughts happen all the time and us turning over the ball all the damn time. It's enough. We need to start handling the ball better. And I'll let guys like Julius Randle, RJ running the offense. But it seems like as of the past couple games or so, we're getting it together. Guys like Jalen Brunson and whoever's our point guard at the time, whether it be Rose or Quickly as well, are handling those responsibilities. Because I don't mind Randall and RJ every so often. It's just not almost every other possession. It cannot be. We got our point guard in Jalen Brunson for a reason. He needs to be the one running the offense, and that is that. I'm just hoping for more consistency, especially on the defensive end, turning the ball way less. And now we got a team like the Brooklyn Nets, who have just been another team that's terrible at defense and just been really awful this year. I mean, they got Kevin Durant, right? That's about it. I mean, Kyrie Irving, with all the problems he's having outside NBA, I don't want to get too much into that, but he's definitely, I will say, a knucklehead, creating all these issues for himself. Ben Simmons, another guy who has a lot of off-court issues that lead into what he does on the court. But you got Kevin Durant, though, right? But hopefully the Knicks are able to take on them tomorrow and get out with a W, because I haven't seen the Knicks beat the Nets in quite a while, and I really just, it would be nice. It would be nice, and who knows, maybe we could even sweep them at some, obviously come towards the end of the season. But yeah, I'm liking, as of so far, where the Knicks are going. We're 5-5, so that's a plus. We have a positive record in some aspect, and I feel like we're figuring out lineups that work for our team. Obviously, turning over the ball less, being better on the defensive end, and just, again, really just hitting our shots. Really, that's what it just comes down to. And yeah, more Randall and Obi. I mean, Obi Toppin. I understand it's tough. It's tough playing him a lot of times, especially obviously whether he's being your power forward center. I would be more so Randall, because Randall is the better defensive player and he can handle guys like Towns and or Gobert a little bit better than, or a lot better, I should say, than Obi would. But you need to start playing them more, because it creates, again, what, like I said, to better offensive opportunities, fast break opportunities, which, again, a guy like Obi Toppin likes to always run the floor, and then somebody like Quickly Rose or Brunson could just throw it out to Obi and gets the easy dunk. But Obi's great. I'm liking our team. Hartenstein, it's just, I mean, listen, I feel like even when Mitch comes back off his injury, Hartenstein's got to be our starting center. That's just the bottom line. He's just the better player. That is it. Offensively, defensively, for sure. Mitchell Robinson, the only thing that he's got over Hartenstein is shot blocking. That's it. And Hartenstein's not like he's a terrible shot blocker. It's just he's a little bit more versatile on that end. We need to start seeing more consistency. That is it. So from the three-pointer, our defense turn the ball way less, and I think we'll be all right. I'm hoping that we could become a playoff team this year. I think that it could be in towards our favor. A lot of underdog teams like Utah, Portland. Yeah, I mean they're beating a lot of people's expectations. Maybe the Knicks could beat some people's expectations. I'm sure they could beat my own because I don't know where I really have them, but more than a 40-win team, I don't really see it. But who knows? Still a long season ahead. Obviously, I hope for the best for my guys, and we'll see what's to come after this. But 5-5, I'm liking what I'm seeing in terms of the past couple games, improvements in some areas. Tibbs, again, just needs to start being a little less stubborn and start playing Randall and OB a lot more together, and just OB a lot more in general. He should be averaging about literally 25 minutes per game. I feel like whether he's coming off the bench or not, it doesn't really matter. 25 or more. He's good for that. He's young. And it gives less pressure for Randall, too, you know. Whether you're not playing Randall at the time, if you're playing Obi, just give him more burn. He's producing. And if you're producing while you're on the floor, you deserve to play. That's the bottom line. Because the thing is with Thibodeau, he likes to have like these lineups where, all right, these guys play for a certain amount of time, all right, now back with the starters. It's just like if a guy like Obi or even Quickly for the matter is hot, you just don't take him out. You at least give him another couple more minutes or so, and then see what happens. You know, if he starts missing a couple shots, all right, we'll bring back RJ or we'll bring back Randall, and that's just how it should be. Yeah, I feel like Thibodeau is being a lot better about that in that department, playing guys who are deserving to play more minutes or whatever. And yeah, that's just the bottom line. Hopefully we get that W tomorrow. So yeah, that is that. I'm Danny Casey. You're listening to Danny C Talking Sports, and I'll see you guys on the next one.